Angela was always becoming a new creation. And it was only a matter of time before God would fill her so full of grace that he would have to take her home. It was only a matter of time that Angela would go home to where she belonged, that she would be in complete joy and no pain. A couple weeks ago, when Angela was in hospice care, it was a couple nights after Angela was pretty much dead in my arms and we revived her. I asked her, I said, Angela, are you talking to God? And she said, yeah, I think so. I said, so by any chance, have you said, hey, my husband would like to keep me, you know? She said, no. I said, but are you asking for a miracle? She said, no. I said, okay. So I asked her again. I said, so what do you think? Are you and God working something out? You working out a deal? Kind of bargaining a little bit? She said, no. She turned her head and she said, but they told me I'd be healed completely, body and soul. And then she turned her head back and went to sleep. And in my mind, I went, okay, she's going to heaven. And then I was driving in the car and I was talking to somebody. I said, you know what? She might have meant a miracle, right? Healed body and soul. So the next day I said, do you remember telling me that they told you were going to be healed body and soul? And she said, yeah, definitely. I said, so were they talking about a miracle on earth or a miracle in heaven? She said, I'm pretty sure they meant heaven. I said, okay. She goes, I could be wrong. But either way, what does it matter? I'm going to be whole again. It was only a matter of time before Angela's surrender would be complete. She taught us to live. She taught us to laugh. She taught us to love. She taught us to be devout. She taught us to exercise and to not drink Coke, even though she drank nothing but Coke the last month of her life, by the way. Tell you what, all your family that's, you know what I'm talking about. It's so bad for you. I tried using that one. She said, Chris, I'm dying. I get what I want. And she taught us to die with joy. Angela knows we're going to be sad because, as Deacon Gorov said, our human minds can't comprehend, and this wasn't what it was meant to be. There's a chasm between heaven and earth, and we don't get it, and we can't feel it, and there feels like an iron curtain between us and heaven. But if you close your eyes for a second, there are so many times when we're going to close our eyes and just wish we could see her when we open them. I wish it all the time. Don't you wish sometimes that you could open your eyes and see the family you've lost? That you could look up and see the saints? That you could look up and you could see God? It feels like an iron curtain. But if you open your eyes and you look at the communion of saints on this wall, and you see St. Faustina, who was so close to Angela's heart, who we named Gianna after her middle name, who taught us the divine mercy. And you see Blessed John Paul II. And you see St. Therese. And you can't see her, but Angela is there. So while we will be in sorrow in the darkness of her grave, I pray for myself and for all of us that we would not live in that sorrow and that darkness, but that we would live in the light of Angela's true joy from heaven. On the week that the doctors told us that we were near the end, Angela cried quite a bit, and so did I. She had a moment where she just shared some things and it was beautiful, and she looked at me and said, can I write my own eulogy? I said, yeah, let's do it. All right, I'll get a pen. So I would often ask her, hey, can we do it? You want to write your eulogy? And after about a week, she said, you know, my mind, I'm too far gone. I don't think I can. She said, you know my heart. But I wanted to put something together that would tell her story. And this weekend, I was kind of working on some quotes and things and to share with you. And this weekend, a good friend of ours, who many of you know, Matt Maher, called me and said, he's really wishing to be here and he's really upset. But he said, hey, I was just listening to this song. And a friend of his had sent it to him. And she's a Christian artist. Her name's Jenny Simmons. And she had written this song called Heaven Waits for Me. And actually, as Matt told me, he said, you're not going to believe this, first of all, that when you read the lyrics and you listen to the song, this song is Angela. He said, if I told you somebody wrote a song for Angela, you would believe it. He said, but not only that, the single actually comes out on her birthday. He said, I don't know what to tell you, man. All I know is God is trying to tell her story. So we put together a video with the song. Jenny Simmons, who wrote the song, contacted me and said that we could use it. And she was very moved by Angela's story. She wrote the song just as a message of her heart, just her commitment to God. But she was so moved to hear how Angela died and to hear how many things from this song parallel Angela's desire, Angela's heart. So take this. The quotes beforehand are Angela's words, and then the song are not, but I would take this as Angela's eulogy. After that, we're going to have a few more songs, and all of these songs are dear to her heart, and then we'll pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet to end. Thank you for being here. You are honoring her by praying with us. That's what she would want from all of us, is that we pray. God bless you.